Welcome back to the Real Human Health Lab, where we learn real human health and how to maximize and optimize all our health and performance areas with science backed studies that lead to using your body the way it should. And today we're going to talk about a very known but overlooked area, and that is sleep. Now, in my opinion, sleep is the biggest and the best performance enhancer in all aspects. Everyone knows they need more of it. Everyone gets told growing up they need more sleep, etc. But everyone overlooks it. They don't really understand the real science and power of how it will benefit you. Sleep is massively key for your hormones, your recovery, your athleticism, and literally everything, just down to your overall general well-being. So your mental health, being able to walk to places healthily, no aches, pains, etc. It all leads in to these health areas. So we'll get straight into it. And what we'll start with is why sleep matters for hormones and health. Now, the very first thing I'll talk about is how sleep regulates almost every single hormone system in your body. So we're talking, testosterone, growth hormone, insulin, cortisol. All these hormones are regulated during your sleep. So you can imagine if your sleep is not up to the level it should be and you're not getting enough of it, your hormones aren't going to be correctly regulated, leading to bad hormonal problems. So the hormone we'll start off with is the one I talk a lot about when I talk about male athletes, and that is testosterone. Now, there was a study in 2011 where men slept for less than 5 hours for a night, and their testosterone actually decreased by 10 to 15%. And that was just from one night of lack of sleep. So you can imagine if you're someone who sleeps, 4 to 5 hours every night, you're going to have extremely lower testosterone than you should be. Your testosterone is going to be completely destroyed by a consistent lack of sleep. And leading on from testosterone, the other hormone that's affected is growth hormone. Now, growth hormone peaks during your sleep. So this is where it peaks the most, is when you're sleeping. And this is key for, repair, injury recovery, just general recovery of your body and muscles. So growth hormone is essential for health. Now, if you're lacking sleep, you're going to lack these growth hormone peaks, which means you're not going to recover well. Your body isn't going to repair itself, the tissue, the muscles, and you're going to struggle to improve your health, improve your body. So growth hormone is also very important and is why sleep is so important, because it peaks growth hormone. Now, the next hormone I'll talk about is cortisol, the stress hormone, as they call it. It's pretty simple, Poor sleep just causes higher baseline cortisol, and that just happens. That's the way it is. So if you're sleeping worse or less, your cortisol will increase. Now, what this then leads to is higher feelings of stress. You feel more stressed out. You're going to store fat more. So there's going to be higher fat storage, and your recovery is actually going to slow down a bit. So if you're getting poor sleep, not only is it going to slow down your testosterone and growth hormone, which are key for recovery, as well as that, it's going to slow your recovery due to high cortisol. So all these things really affect, the recovery of your health and your body after heavy training or being ill, etc. Okay, and lastly, insulin sensitivity. Now, there was a study done a little while ago in 1999. This showed that sort of after 1 week of 5 hours a night sleep, the insulin resistance in your body got to pre-diabetic levels. Now, obviously, studies are a great place to get evidence and understand how the body works. It doesn't mean that this will happen to you. However, it means it is common. So it showed that, within just a week of bad sleep, their pre-diabetic levels of insulin resistance came in very strongly. And lastly, just a little bonus for athletes, if poor sleep is a thing, so you have poor sleep, you have bad quality sleep or low time of sleep, you're going to have slower reaction time, you're going to have lower strength and higher injury risk. And this is all going to hinder and really affect your performance as an athlete. So you're going to really struggle to get better or succeed in the sport you're doing. So leading on from that, we'll actually look at how sleep affects athletic performance a bit more deeply. So the first thing I'll start off with is a Stanford study that was done on basketball players, and this was in 2011. And this study was basically they had athletes, basketball players specifically, extend their sleep to 10 hours a night. So they had them sleeping 10 hours a night. And over the course of this, study, what they saw is improved sprint times, their shooting accuracy, and their reaction times. All of this improved. So when your sleep is increased and you're getting better quality of sleep, you sort of reap great benefits in regards to your reaction, how you perform as an athlete. And as well as this, sleep consolidates your motor learning. So the techniques or the combinations or the skills you've learned from training the sport you're doing are going to struggle to stick more in your body when you have bad sleep. So you're going to struggle to learn them and make them natural when you have less sleep. So the more sleep you get, the better these techniques stick, and you can just do them naturally. And lastly, as I've said already, as an athlete, recovery, injury resilience, and just immune system function is massively important. You do not want to be getting injured all the time. You do not want to be getting ill all the time. And you don't want bad recovery, because this will really affect your performance and your progress in the sport in the future. So sleeping is so important, because getting not only 8 hours to 9 hours sleep, you want to get good sleep, because this will massively, massively improve your recovery and your resilience and your body repair. So deep, high quality sleep is key. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll talk a bit about my experience quickly just before we move on to the next section. So I used to sleep, I used to not be bothered. I used to sleep 6 hours a night, sometimes five, four, and just not really be bothered when I was younger. Now, I didn't notice how badly it was affecting me until I got good sleep. Once I started getting at least 8 hours a night and I focused on making it good sleep, so, coming off the screens before sleeping, meditation, stretching, all the stuff I'm about to get into to improve your sleep. Once I started doing that, the benefits I felt were incredible. I had such better reaction time. I just felt so much healthier. I had energy throughout the day. And even when I was tired, I still could perform at a great standard because my body was recovered. My physical abilities were recovered and healthy. So I can't help but see sleep as the very best and the number one priority if you want to enhance your health and performance. Because I know I've talked a lot about athletes and how sleep is important to them, but as we discussed before, your hormones and health, it's so important for everything. Even just simple things like energy and, being able to train the next day and being able to complete tasks and have fun with your family without feeling injured and tired. It's so important. Sleep is the number one performance enhancer. Sleep is literally the magic pill. Like, if anyone wants a health magic pill, there isn't one. The closest thing to it is sleep. Sleep is the solver of a lot of health problems and a lot of health struggles. Now, I've briefly gone over the main ones in this episode because I don't want to make these episodes too long so people, lose engagement and they don't really learn if there's too much information. So I've given you the key points, the really important ones. Now, there are hundreds of benefits you can look up through studies, etc., if you want to know more, or even ask me directly if you want to know more about a certain topic, because sleep is the best for everything. And if you have any questions about things like specific topics that sleep relates to, please contact me and I will be able to help you through that. Okay, what I'll go through now is the 5 natural ways to improve your sleep quality, because The length of time you're sleeping is important. However, the quality of sleep is just as important. If you're sleeping 9 hours but it's interrupted, you don't get good deep sleep, it's still going to affect you badly. So, what we'll start off with is it doesn't just start in the evening, it starts in the morning. Now, as you know, I've talked a lot about morning sunlight, but this is really important for, resetting your circadian rhythm, regulating your cortisol, and starting the melatonin, which helps you sleep, system in your body. So aim for, in 30 minutes of waking up, 5 to 10 minutes of morning sunlight. This will benefit the evening. It will help your melatonin kick in at the right time, and it will massively help you sleep. Now, the second one will be a consistent bed and wake time. Now, this is key, and for me, I've done this for years. I go to bed at pretty much the same time every day. Obviously, there's one offs, and I wake up at pretty much the same time every morning. Now, what you want to do is you want to aim for sleep before midnight. This is because your sleep will be way more restorative, because of the circadian rhythm, the way our bodies are. If you sleep before midnight, you're going to get way more restorative deep sleep. So you're going to get way better deep sleep, which is going to massively improve your health. So even on weekends, try and keep to within 1 hour of your schedule. So I go to bed at between 10 and 11 every night, and I wake up between 6 and 7 every morning, no matter what. Unless there are some off days, things come up, life happens, sometimes it has to change, but stick to it as much as possible. Now, the third thing that I am a massive advocate for, and that is cutting out blue light and bright lights 1 hour before sleeping. Now, if you can, completely come off all screens. If not, and you need your phone with you, you may have kids, etc., then use blue light blocking glasses, and you can change on your phone the screen to a red tint, which basically kills most of the blue light. Now, as well as this, you want to be in low level dark rooms. So you may have a candle on, you may have an LED light that you can dim to a low level, or even a red color, which promotes melatonin. But you want to basically prepare your brain after sunset that this is time to sleep. And if you're preparing your brain that this is time to sleep, you're going to sleep way better. Your body's naturally going to go into that system of melatonin and make you sleep better. Whereas if you're, in a massively bright lit room and you're looking at your screen at 11 o'clock at night, your body's going to think it's the middle of the day. Your brain is going to receive this information and going to produce the same systems that keep you awake. So how are you going to sleep well if you have these bodily systems keeping you awake? Now, when it comes to actually going to sleep, you want your room to be at a cool temperature. So the optimal temperature is between 18 to 20 degrees, if you want to be specific. I just tend to have my window open at all times of the year, just because I have high body temperature a lot of the time, especially when I sleep. And also, I never have my radiator on. So a cool room massively promotes sleep. And as well as this, when you're actually sleeping, you want your room to be as dark as possible. Now, there was actually a study that's shown, even if you had like an LED light on your TV, right, it's quite not massively bright, but it's there. Even if you had an eye mask on, your body through its skin, etc., it feels the light, it has the light on it, and that can slightly interrupt your sleep. So if you want to optimize your sleep as best as possible, you want your room completely pitch black. So you want blackout curtains, zero lights on, and an eye mask, and that's what I do. And this will mimic, natural darkness, pure, ready to sleep darkness before we had lights, etc. And lastly, the last one will be nutrition and recovery timing. Now, what I mean by this is you want to avoid heavy meals on your stomach close to when you're sleeping. So you want to get your meals done like 1 to 2 hours before you sleep. And this is because if you eat right before sleeping, your body is going to be digesting. And to digest, it will need to keep working and be awake. So if you eat a big meal and then you go to sleep half an hour later, your first part of that sleep will be very disrupted because your body is digesting. It's doing this digestion process, which keeps your body awake. So even alcohol as well, because it's very high in calories, very high in yeast, etc. You want to avoid heavy meals and alcohol before sleeping. Aim to have that done an hour or two before sleeping. When you do eat in the evening, opt for magnesium rich foods. So, pumpkin seeds, even spinach. I personally don't like nuts and seeds, but there's other ways you can get it. Spinach. Um, a lot of leafy greens have high magnesium. And also, you can use herbal teas that can aid your relaxation. So, like chamomile, um, there's many teas that can sort of help you sleep. Definitely opt for them as well. If you struggle to get magnesium in your diet, you can, which I do no matter what, take magnesium glycinate in the evening. Now, I think personally everyone should take this. It helps with over 300 systems in your body. It helps you sleep. Just take it, and it will massively help. You know, if you don't want to take any supplements, you prefer to get it solely from food, do try and eat a lot of spinach, a lot of leafy greens, a lot of meat that's high in magnesium. Try and get it naturally that way. Now, I'll give you a bonus that I love to do, and that is to have a warm or hot shower before you sleep and include some stretching and breath work. So you want to have a warm shower and you want to get out, stretch in the dark or the low lit room, and do some deep breathing, and this will massively signal your body to relax and get ready to sleep and start producing that melatonin. And you'll get more tired and relaxed. Try it out, even if it's a 10-minute stretch with some good deep breaths, just try it out after a warm shower. And that is the bonus that I'd give you that massively helps. There's many other ways you can naturally increase your sleep and the quality of your sleep, but these are the main ones. These are the key scientifically proven ways to improve your sleep. Try them out. As well, I will just give you the top 3 supplements you can take to improve your sleep if you want to take supplements. Now, the top 3 would be magnesium, and you want to opt for glycinate. This helps calm your nervous system and improve the sleep neurotransmitter, the relaxation feeling. Secondly is L-theanine. This actually helps with relaxation massively without any sort of sedation feeling. It increases like alpha brain waves, which massively help relaxation and getting ready to sleep. And it's often used with magnesium. And lastly, the third one, a lot of people know about it from social media, is ashwagandha. This is because it supports stress and reduces the cortisol, which is great for sleep. If you can reduce your cortisol as much as you can in the evening, your sleep is going to be better. Do not take ashwagandha in the morning, because in the morning we should have a natural cortisol spike. You do not want to blunt that. The only time you should take ashwagandha is in the evening. But as I say, supplements are always secondary. They're always a way to enhance and, optimize your health even further once you've sorted everything else out in your life health wise. So once you've got your nutrition right, you're exercising regularly, and you're doing all the right things to be healthy, then you can go to supplements to enhance your performance, enhance your health even more. The only 2 that people should take no matter what is vitamin D and, in my opinion, magnesium. So that has been the episode on the biggest performance enhancer that I've ever seen, and that is sleep. Takeaways and the challenge. That's what I'm going to give you now. So sleep is your most powerful and most accessible and most free recovery tool. You don't have to pay anything. It's there every night. Optimize it and make it as best as you can, and it will be the most powerful performance enhancing recovery tool you've ever come across. It restores your hormones, it improves and sharpens your performance, and it protects your overall long-term health, your longevity. It's going to make you healthy. If you get good quality sleep for your life, your body is going to repair and be healthier for longer. You're going to be healthier for longer. You're going to be as healthy as you can be as long as you make sure you get the sleep. If you're not getting the right sleep and bad short length sleep, then all your other health areas, no matter what you're doing, are going to suffer. You could be taking every supplement, all the right nutrition. If your sleep is off, you're going to suffer. You're going to feel the effects, and it's not going to be as best as it can be when it comes to health, long term, or performance. The challenge I'll give you will be, for the next 7 days, try and go to bed and wake up at the roughly same time within 30 minutes of each other. Do this for 7 days, have the exact same wake time and sleep time, and also include morning sunlight in the mornings every day for 7 days. See how that feels. See if you notice any sort of energy improvements, mood improvements, training improvements, and just see how that goes. This has been another episode of the Real Human Health Lab. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all the support. I hope you start getting the best sleep you can, the longest, the most quality. Try and optimize your sleep as best as you can using all the methods and information I've given you today. Make your sleep your most important priority when it comes to health, and you will feel the benefits. Again, thank you for listening. I appreciate the continued support. If you have any questions, contact me on Instagram at ollie.c1, and I will be happy to help with any of your questions. Again, keep sharing, keep supporting. Until next time.